Sorry, friends, a little technical difficulty on my camera. So this is part 2. I'm going to start right where I left off from the story instead of starting all over with the beginning of the lesson, okay? So we were right here. We were talking about Dragonfly and how she laid her eggs on stems just below the water. So we were talking about how the perch threads her eggs and weaves them around plants, okay? Let's keep going. They looked on the bank and Frog showed Oscar some eggs that had been laid where it's dry. Many kinds of butterflies lay their eggs on the undersides of leaves. When the caterpillars hatch out of the eggs, they eat the leaves. Do you see them right there? Maybe when you're out on nature walks or nature hikes, you will see, you can look under the underside of the leaves and see if you can see any eggs. Many birds lay their eggs in nests high off the ground. Here, the chicks will be safe from the animals who might want to eat them when they hatch. Ducks often nest on the ground close to the water so their ducklings will be able to swim quickly away from danger. Do plants hatch out of eggs? Oscar asked. No, said Frog. Most plants sprout from seeds. Each plant makes its own kind of seed. The seeds of apple trees are stored inside their fruit. Strawberry plants have small seeds on the outsides of their fruit. Do you see them? There's the seeds in the apple. And if you look really close at this strawberry, you can see the little seeds. Did you know that those were the seeds? Poppy plants have tiny seeds that they are light enough to be carried away by the wind. Coconuts are the seeds of coconut palm trees. They are huge and can float. So this is actually, even though we call it a coconut, it's a seed. Most seeds ripen above the ground, but the seeds of the peanut plant grow in the earth. So the peanuts that we eat are actually the seeds. Look at, here's Kitten. Maybe that's Oscar. Did I hatch out of an egg? Or did I sprout from a seed? Oscar asked. Neither, said Frog. You were born. You looked a lot like you do now, only much smaller. With fur and paws, ears and a tail, you were hungry for milk from your mother. Why was I hungry for milk? Oscar asked. Well, it helped you to grow, said Frog. Milk for you, pondweed for me. Leaves for these caterpillars, and bugs for those baby birds. We all need different food to grow. Oscar stretched. I'm so big now, he told Frog. But you're not as big as you will be, said Frog. Are you? Asked Oscar. Well, yes, said Frog. Frog answered. I've stopped growing now. I'm as big as I'm going to get. How long does it take to grow up? Oscar asked. It depends, said Frog. This flower will be full grown in a few days. Do you guys know what kind of flower that is? It's a dandelion. But this young tree won't be tall until you are a very old cat. That's just a little sapling, a little mini tree. The baby birds will be as big as their parents next spring, Frog went on. But the tadpoles will take 3 springs or more to be as big as I am. Each living thing takes its own time. Just then, Oscar saw that his mother was coming. What about me? He asked Frog. How long will I stay a kitten? You will be a full-grown cat by winter, and as big as your mother is now, Frog said. Oscar looked at his mother. She was much bigger than he was. Don't be silly, Frog, he said, laughing. It's true, Frog said. Wait and see. And then here we go. This author included something really cool on the back page here. It says, thinking about growing. By the pond, Oscar found out about all of these things. So here he's showing the beginnings of many things. Here are some things will hatch out of an egg, some sprout from seeds, and some are born. How did you begin? Were you just a baby? You were, weren't you? On your next walk, look for living things that hatch, sprout, or are born. Food. All living things have to eat to grow. They need different things and kinds of food. Pondweed, leaves, bugs. What helped you to grow when you were very young? Do you remember? Maybe some milk. Maybe you had some formula. Maybe you had baby food. Those all helped you to grow. What do you eat that helps you grow now? Your vegetables, right? And some fruit. And then last he wrote, getting bigger. Living things grow at different speeds. A few days for the plant, a few months for the birds, a few years for a tadpole, and many years for a tree. How long will it take you to grow as big as your mom and dad? Probably a long time. Maybe by the time you're in high school or out of high school, you'll be as big as your mom and dad. Oscar thinks growing is great. Do you think so too? I do. And I bet you've grown so much since we've seen you in March. That tells you how much we miss you. Also, friends, this is really cool. Sometimes in an informational book, they'll have an index of important words. An index is a list of all the important words in the story, so that if you wanted to learn just about eggs, you could go to page 4, pages 6 through 10, and page 13. That's where the author uses the word eggs. And then you can, instead of flipping page by page by page, you can just go exactly to the page that talks about eggs. This is called an index, and you see it a lot in informational books. Well, friends, I want to do one more thing before we end this week's story. Last week, I asked you really important questions about the story and using the text to find the answers. Well, today I wanted to remind you how to do the story for a retelling. So I have some pictures here that I want to go to. You know what? Miss J made a mistake. That's not what we want to do right now. That's for the other story. We'll retell in the next story I'm going to read to you, okay? All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed that story. I'm sorry I'm so close to the camera, but I miss you, and I'll talk to you soon.